This episode is brought to you by the CNY Women's Network, a media and PR company connecting and celebrating women professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders across Central New York. From networking experiences and wellness pop-ups to our annual CNY Women's Summit, which is the largest event for women leaders in this region, we're building a community where women feel seen, supported, and inspired to grow. We're currently partnering with sponsors for our 2026 event season, including the CNY Women's Summit, our walking club, co-working meetups, fitness pop-ups, editorial campaigns, you name it. If your brand is passionate about empowering women and making meaningful community connections, we'd love to collaborate. You can start the conversation and learn more by heading to cnywomensnetwork.com/opportunities. That's cnywomensnetwork.com/opportunities. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Cultivate CNY. I'm your host, Alex Canavan, and today I'm joined by Kristin Thompson Henry. Kristin is the Community Impact Officer at Empower Federal Credit Union and a born and raised Syracuse native who's dedicated her career to lifting up her community, especially the underdogs. With a unique blend of purpose and results-driven leadership, she's become a champion for financial literacy, building partnerships that create real opportunities and ensuring that all people feel seen, valued, and empowered to thrive. What makes Kristin's approach so compelling is her authenticity. She leads with heart and hustle, never afraid to roll up her sleeves and turn obstacles into opportunities. Today, we'll explore how her homegrown roots have shaped her vision for community impact, the strategies she's using to create meaningful change at Empower Federal Credit Union, and why she believes that hometown pride and purposeful action are the keys to building a stronger Central New York. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Kristin Thompson Henry, welcome to Cultivate CNY.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited you're here. I cannot wait to hear more about your journey and what you do day by day. I mean, I do know that you're raising two 5-year-old twins.
I am.
So that's definitely one part of it. But I'm also so excited to be partnering with Empower now with the podcast and to hear more about how you guys are creating impact in our community here in Central New York.
Yes.
So tell me about how you got into this line of work. Did you always know that you wanted to make an impact on a community?
I think so. I think ultimately I did know, but I did not go to college to be a community impact officer. I actually went for international business and world trade. And, my younger self thought I was going to live in Paris and, live this single life and work for a Fortune 500 company and just jet set all over the world. And then I realized that I was very much a homebody and I missed my family.
Did you go away to school
I
at
went
first?
to Buffalo.
Okay. I spent a year in Buffalo too.
I went to Buffalo. I just knew that I kind of needed my grounding. My family is definitely my grounding here. And I said, and if I was going to do the kind of work that was going to drive me passionately, I was going to do it in the city that raised me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm here.
You're super passionate about making a difference here in Central New York.
Mhm.
What were you involved in high school? Were you involved in any special business clubs or?
Yeah. And actually, I think I credit my involvement in high school to kind of my career trajectory. So I went to Nottingham High School, very proud Syracuse City School District grad. We did a dialogue, community-wide dialogue exchange between Nottingham students and FM students. It was the first of its kind. And what that dialogue conversation looked like is that we were paired up with another student from FM school district. And we would sit down and talk about social issues and the differences between, even though we were like maybe less than 10 miles apart from each other, how starkly different our schools were, just far as diversity, far as access, far as technology. And yet we have the same sort of core curriculum that we're expected to learn at the same time. But obviously there were some disadvantages that our school had, but, didn't know that we were in a disadvantage until we saw the access that we didn't have. And so it was a very eye-opening experience, especially as a 16, 17-year-old student. But it did drive me to kind of wonder, what would it be like if everyone had the same playing field? What would our world be like? And I think that did contribute to the ways that I show up now for as far as, community impact.
Yeah, I would definitely call that a defining moment for
Mhm.
you. For those who may not know, what does a community impact officer do inside of a credit union or a financial institution?
Yeah, that's a good question. um, I like to think of my job as kind of three-pronged. Certainly, I have a big stake in financial literacy, specifically through K through 12 education. And so what that looks like is that our department in Empower, we go out into the school districts, we partner with teachers and kind of show up as guest presenters. And we talk about everything from credit score to budgeting to how to read a credit report, how to apply for college, literally an adult 101 class. And our curriculum is so robust that it changes depending on, the students that we're engaging with. So our littles that we're trying to get them to get into a financially healthy mindset start as easy as what is how to save, spend, share, and getting into those core concepts. And then also talking to them about wants versus needs, and really kind of getting them to understand what a want versus a need is. And yes, food is a want and a need. Like we have to have food to be healthy, but we don't need McDonald's Happy Meals every time, like so trying to get them to understand that. And then obviously, as we get into our older students, we do more of a budgeting where they work in teams and try to, we give them scenarios and they have to stay within that budgeting realm. And in our high schools, primarily for juniors and seniors, we do talk about Adulting 101, a financial literacy simulation that we bring into the schools. And we jump them right into real life. They have a credit score, they have a budgeting, they have debt, they have a school loan, they have to make real life decisions on what transportation looks like, what does housing look like, what does groceries look like. And then they have to kind of go through that. We're there along the way to help them, but ultimately it's them making the decisions.
That's incredible. I wish that existed when I was in school. When
Agreed.
did Empower start doing this?
Yeah, so it was part of their core values even before I joined the team, and I think it just skyrocketed because now we have a full blown department that is dedicated to something like this. But it's really part of the credit union philosophy. We're people helping people, and I think anytime you go into a credit union in particular, there's always supposed to be this education component to it, like you're asking for help to do something. And we realized early on that in order to create this generational wealth that we're so passionate about, we do have to start early and teaching our young minds how to be financially sound and financially fit. And we know that life is going to throw you curveballs, but if we give you a strong foundation, you'll be able to pivot and navigate those pitfalls when they do happen, because they will. But if you have a strong budgeting, have a strong way to just recover, it doesn't hurt as bad.
Yeah, and mindset really is everything. I've
Mhm.
actually spent the last year really kind of doubling down on my own money mindset
Mhm.
just because I've been able to recognize how some of the ways that I've grown up has definitely affected the way that I make money,
Sure.
spend money, save money. And I'm so glad that Empower is doing this work
Yeah.
for young people, because we don't get to control how people grow up at home or whatever environment they're in, but at least they can get the resources when they're at school to hopefully correct and improve some of those things.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned Empower's core values. I do know that you guys are being guided by four main pillars. Can
Yes.
you explain what those are and
Yeah.
why?
Yes, absolutely. So we have our youth in the next generation. That is a core pillar. We have our housing stability, housing security. We have food insecurity. And we have accessibility to healthcare. Those four pillars really kind of came about from hearing kind of the pulse of the Central New York community, and working with, collaboratively with nonprofits, and seeing how they show up for the community and what their needs are. And I think it directly aligns with how we can, put our kind of mark on as far as being a financial institution and how we can pave the way in some of those areas.
Yes, and housing insecurity is certainly an issue here in Central New York. So, how are you guys giving that approach? How are you guys addressing these issues through your
Yeah,
work?
so there's tons of things that Empower offers. More specifically, when we get into our products and services, we have a first home buyers club program that if you apply and you go through some of the courses, we do help with some of the down payment on your first home. But also, we do things like supporting Habitat for Humanity, with sponsorship, with our sweat equity, bringing Empower employees to help build a home for a new homeowner that, owning a house was never in the cards and now it is possible. So there's all different ways that we kind of show up based on the need of the community. It's not based on our need, but what the community needs.
Yeah, and I love that you guys are putting forward some of that sweat equity, and you're
Hmm.
not just writing checks, right?
Right.
You're really getting, involved in what's happening here in the community.
Hmm.
Women and caregivers are often at the center of food security,
Hmm.
healthcare decisions, housing stability, and youth development.
Hmm.
How does Empower's four giving pillars reflect the realities women and caregivers face in Central New York?
I think women are just beasts. I think women, obviously, like you said, they are the kind of the core of the household. And once we kind of empower them, not no pun intended, we it kind of give them the superpower to to feel confident in making their financial decisions. When you are experiencing housing insecurity, it's coupled with food insecurity. A lot of times those two go hand in hand. And we have lots of programs and products and services that kind of cater to helping women in, unique situations that offer, low interest rates loans, helping to open up accounts as far as savings and credit accounts. But it's also part of that education. So we kind of partner with local nonprofits that have an audience with women. And we sit down and we talk to them. It's not an easy conversation to talk about finances. And I think when I particularly go in, it's easier to talk one on one with a woman to say, listen, I was in your spot. I'm still in your spot. I'm still learning. We got kids that grow out of sneakers every day, and we have to adjust and do things like that. But having honest and open conversations, letting them know that it's not a judgment. What I'm going to say to you is not going to be necessarily rocket science, but it is going to be, something that you can put in your tool belt to help you along the way. And if you ever get into a situation where you are needing some financial assistance, we always say, just come talk to us. Just come into a branch, feel like you're home, and come talk to us about your situation.
Yeah. And it always starts with that education.
Mhm.
But oftentimes I find that women are almost afraid to go and seek out that information because let's be honest, depending on how you grew up and what your relationship is to money, it's an intimidating
Oh,
conversation.
absolutely.
But, I can definitely tell that you are really good at creating that safe space for all people to get together and
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know,
Mhm.
You can't blame yourself if you've never, been in the situation before. And money is a sobering conversation. It's kind of embarrassing to have to say out loud what you don't know. But listen, we all don't know. We're all trying to get by, and I always say that it's not for the people that created these imbalances, it's for the policy systems and environments that left people out. And now it's our job to keep them into the conversation. And, that starts at one conversation at a time, listening to really intently about what their needs are, and then finding ways to make those connections so that they can get the access that they were denied.
You are super passionate not only about making an impact in the community, but you're also passionate about bringing people together.
Mm,
I would consider you a community builder.
yeah.
And you and I, reading your bio, I could just tell we have very similar missions and values. So you talk a lot about lifting others as you climb.
Mm.
How has partnerships and lifting others as you climb given you that ability to do this in Central New York?
Yeah, if I was going to make some sort of an impact, I was going to do it in the community that raised me. And I'm very passionate about, the Central New York area. And, I give thanks to all of the mentors that have, had their hands on my back and kind of pushed me forward. And so when I have an opportunity to do the same, I just feel like it's only right. It's part of my footprint. It's far as part of my legacy. It's not Kristin is this wonderful, wonderful person. Is Kristin helped 10, 30, 40 people get to a level of self-confidence, not even just and self-awareness, not even just like in career, but self-confidence and self-awareness to really be themselves and really be open and comfortable of showing up in all spaces.
Yeah, and you kind of need to lead by example,
Mhm.
right? So let's talk a little bit about mentorship.
Mhm.
Are there any specific experiences where you really realized that someone had made a difference in your life or your career, a
Yeah.
mentor?
Yeah. It goes back to that community-wide dialogue in high school. So the executive director there at the time, Beth Broadway, I attribute to her a lot of my success now. She kind of saw a light in me and saw that spark. And throughout my career, I'm fortunate enough to serve on the Interfaith Works board as secretary right now. And, just the work that they're doing as far as the resettlement programs, their senior programs, their Center for Dialogue, it's like they're constantly getting into good trouble is what I say. To quote John Lewis, they're getting into good trouble to make sure that people feel welcomed, that there is a dignity, that everyone has this self dignity and treated with dignity, no matter where they come from in all walks of life. And I definitely think that she helped mold the way that I show up in rooms. And I also try to contribute, my mother, I have a strong mom that has always told me, that, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to show up and, yeah, to be compassionate and emotional because usually you want to suppress your emotion, but as women, we are emotional beings, and I think that when your emotion kind of can come across in an authentic way, it just drives home your passion.
Yeah, that's really powerful
Mhm.
too. A lot of us are taught to suppress our
Mhm.
feelings and to just perform, especially as women, right? So
Absolutely.
that's a really, really powerful message. Can you share about a current initiative you're especially proud of that Empower is working on right now? I know you guys partner with a lot of amazing nonprofits in the area, but is there
Yeah.
something happening right now that you're really proud of?
We did a lot, and it's so hard to pick just one, but I'll share two of them that just kind of like tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. We were able to support the rescue missions. They have a holiday wish list that came out, and they have a group of housing unstable. Men that they're working with, that they gathered a list of wants that they wanted for the holiday, and they had a special item on there, and then they had basic needs, underwear and undershirts. And after looking at the list, this was about 30 individuals that we were helping to support and make Christmas just a little special. After looking at the list, there were things on there like a pair of dress pants, that they can go and do an interview with, or it was a case of soda. It was sometimes it was a video game, and sometimes it was specifically SU orange sweatpants, and I got to go shopping for these individuals and tried to make that special item that they were asking for really personal. And of course, stocked up on all of the essentials that they may need throughout the year. But that one was a little sobering to think, because you think that if anybody would put on their special wish list of stuff, that you wouldn't think a pair of dress pants or, a case of soda would be top of mind. Like you ask kids nowadays, they probably would have said, Xbox or PS5 or something like that. And, it was truly something that they could use on a daily basis. And then the other thing that I am really kind of passionate about, and what Empower allows me to do is I volunteer weekly as a book buddy for CNY Book Buddies. And it really is kind of near and dear to my heart because I spend an hour every Monday with two littles from Roberts Elementary, and we work on reading and comprehension. We work on, letter recognitions and blending sounds. And sometimes, we'll get through like 4 or 5 pages and they're really on it. And sometimes we might struggle with just half a page. And it's the time that we have to kind of course correct. And maybe we talk about what they did over the weekend. But what makes that really special is that we're building connection. We're showing that we're showing up every week. We're not just a one and done institution. And throughout the school year, I get to see that little mind develop. And when we start, the school year, they could barely recognize a B versus a D. And and then towards the end of the school year, you're seeing them read full sentences very confidently. And you can see their smile and like how they light up. And then I'm smiling and I light up. And it's just this mutual sort of love for, trying to be there for each other.
Yeah. And for someone like you to see that progress, I'm
Mhm.
sure that's got to be one of the most fulfilling experiences ever.
Oh, it is. It is.
And the Book Buddies program is definitely one of the most well-known initiatives that the United Way of Central New York does. I've heard so many good things about it. And I've been kind of thinking, how can we get the CNY Women's Network involved in that?
Oh,
Because
you should.
there's so many members that have been looking for more things to get involved with, just like that, more mentorship opportunities. So
Yeah.
you've just put that back to top of
Oh
mind for
yeah,
me.
it's just so rewarding, and like the littles come in, they're so shy at first, and then we start to build a rapport. We talk about whatever, and their faces light up when they see their book buddy every day. And then on days where I can't be there, I'm like, oh, like I literally dread not seeing them, But it's the easiest 1 hour or 2 hours that you have, and I would highly recommend it.
What has your work in community impact taught you about leadership?
Hmm.
How has it affected your own leadership?
Yeah. So I've learned that leadership is not at the top. Leadership is the
Yeah.
ones that are at the bottom of the boots on the ground, doing the work. And it doesn't leading does not mean that you have to have the most highest title behind your name. And leaders, I always say, I heard a quote recently that said, a leader with no one to lead is just taking a walk. So you have to be able to galvanize people
Mm.
and really kind of get that buy-in and work collaboratively with people. And that's really what leadership is. It's meeting them where they are. Constantly and trying to see how you can utilize your resources to help uplift other people.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest proponent of getting buy-in and to, kind of bringing people together and being that connector? What do you think it is?
No, I think you got to go in and be real. You got to be real, because communities will sniff a fake, um, like it's nobody's business. I like to pride myself that say, I'm trying to come in. I'm Kristen. I always tell people who I am, where did I come from, so that they can understand that I'm, besides this community impact title, I'm just like you,
Mhm.
Um, I also realize that every time I talk to people about finances, I always learn something myself, and I have to tell the people like I did not come from a financial background. I came from nonprofit space, so for me to be at this level of educating others on this means that I had to learn along the way as well, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know all the answers, and I'll be honest, I don't. I'm gonna bring in the experts that know, how to minimize, your debt right now. But I can give you the core concepts. I can give you the things in your tool belt. I connect you with our subject matter experts that can do that. And so I think a real leader and a real way to show up for your community is by being that connector.
Mhm.
Understanding that I may not be the person that knows how to do X, Y, and Z, but I know somebody that I can put you in touch with, and that's what that connection means.
Yeah, I really resonate with that
Hmm.
because I love to just talk and to hear what people need.
Mm.
And, most of the time, you yourself will not be able to meet those needs. But if you
Exactly.
can maybe be a resource or a network, right,
Right.
and connect them with the right person, you can change someone's life. But what I just heard you explain about leadership and bringing people together, it's going to take relatability.
Mm.
It's going to take collaboration
Mm.
and humility. That's what
Absolutely.
you just described.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to take that with me.
Let's do it.
If you could give any advice to any young leaders that might be listening to this podcast right now about getting to a position that you're in,
Yeah.
you're in a really amazing position. You probably have a dream career for so many people listening right now.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice you'd give them?
Hmm. I would say, try to get familiar with your community. And what does that look like? Start volunteering with nonprofits. I would even take it a step further and say, before you get into a career like mine, maybe even work for a nonprofit, because I think that experience shapes me. I can multitask like nobody's business, but I also experienced, kind of the hustle and bustle of nonprofits,
Hmm.
tying mission to action, around, meeting people and advocacy work and the education component around it. I think that those are three things that kind of are intertwined in anything that you do. Um, I would say that to work on finding your own voice, that is extremely important. And one that I had to learn and I'm still learning, but I'm unapologetic about it in this stage in my career. But I also feel like as a young person, I was hesitant about using my voice, but understanding that your voice matters, your voice is meaningful, your voice might be the reason why someone stepped into the room, as opposed to like shying away.
Hmm.
So use your voice, get connected to the community. If you want to go a little bit deeper, work in nonprofit. I swear it is going to it's not going to pay the best. I will
Yeah.
I will I will tell you
It's
that.
scrappy.
It's scrappy, but
Teaches you how to be scrappy for
it
sure.
it, it will absolutely shape you for this community impact work because you're going to be built to show results afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I love that. Amen. Let's talk about you as a dynamic woman, as a
Yay.
mother,
I
as a
love me.
leader.
It's like, no.
Yeah, you're fabulous, by the way. I love your
Thank you.
outfit.
Thank you. I love yours
You're
too.
adorable.
You're so sweet.
So take us through a day in the life. I'm sure it's very busy with two 5-year-old twins.
Yeah, I'm kind of boring. No, I have two 5-year-old twins. They were born in 2020. They are Reese and Rhea. I have a boy, girl.
Oh, that's so
They,
cute.
they, they. I always say that they are thunder and lightning. Depending on the day, it depends on who's the thunder and who's the lightning. They started kindergarten. They're in the Liverpool School District, and they're just a joy to be around. So nowadays, a lot of my um, life is revolved around them. But even that, I had to learn very quickly that like I can't just be their mom. I have to find who Kristin is, and still maintain that sort of balance, if you will. I don't believe in work-life balance. I don't think that that is possible. I think your life is meant to be imbalanced in some
Hmm.
ways. You just have to recognize when the imbalance is happening towards, things that are negative and when you can kind of course correct and all that other stuff. Um, I think I've already mentioned it, but I am a homegrown Syracusan. Love being in Syracuse. I used to hate it. I used to hate Syracuse, but I have found such an affinity to Central New York, especially being a parent of young kids and really
Hmm.
building a life
Yeah,
here.
I think there's a
And
lot of people that can relate to
oh
that.
my goodness,
I
yes.
mean, I feel like the narrative has started to shift here. Certainly, people have become a lot more grateful.
Oh, yes.
When did that kind of change for you?
Yeah,
Was it
after
having children?
it was having children, but after college.
Yeah.
After college, because I was like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to, I'm not gonna stay in Syracuse. I'm gonna go somewhere." And
Yeah,
I
that's
ended
what
up
we
in
all
Buffalo,
say.
which Buffalo is great, but it was only a hop, skip, and a jump from
Yep.
Syracuse. And then, after college, I'm like, "Yeah, I kinda wanna go back." And I've been here ever since.
Yeah. What is your favorite part about being a part of the Central New York community?
I think we have grit. I think we have a lot of grit. We have a lot of, we get a lot of bad press, but when you go in and you see a lot of the nonprofit works, you see a lot of the community centers, a lot of the youth programs that are happening. We are on the precipice of things that are that other cities would love to replicate.
Hmm.
I think we have, they don't call us the heart of Central New York for no reason. I think we have.
I think we have good
Yeah,
values
we
here.
do. We've got great values. We've
Yeah.
got great people. We've got great connections. We're still learning how to, use not work in our silos, but really
Yeah.
try to find ways to collaborate and really make meaningful programming that help people.
Hmm.
We don't always get it right, but a lot of times we do. And I think that the best has yet to come with Syracuse and Central New York. So
I
I'm
agree.
hopeful.
Yeah, no, I love you said something earlier about how someone can sniff out a fake.
Mm.
And that's how I feel about just doing business in
Mhm.
Syracuse. And
Mhm.
that's why I love building a business in
Mhm.
Syracuse. And just being a part of this community because not only is it full of people that are so welcoming and are just so supportive,
Right.
first of all, like I personally haven't heard no a whole lot here.
Awesome.
People are super supportive. But I also like the fact that you have to be a good person
Mm,
if you want to get somewhere
that
here.
part.
You cannot be a phony. You can't be a fraud, and there's nowhere to hide because it
Exactly.
is small and
Mhm.
it's not 6 degrees of separation, it's one.
Exactly.
So I
And
think
in some way, somebody knows you. If they don't know you, they know your mom. They know you. So somehow you're connected. Yes.
yeah. What about, I mean, so I know your life is pretty busy with
Yeah.
the kiddos and work,
Yeah.
right? But what about you?
Yeah.
Is there anywhere you like to go here for leisure, for fun, for
Yeah.
connection?
Yeah.
What's your favorite coffee shop?
Ooh.
What are your favorite things to
So
do here?
fun fact about me, I don't drink coffee. I've
Wow.
never
Good for
drunk
you.
coffee ever.
Never?
No, but I'm a hot chocolate connoisseur. Like
Okay.
I'll drink hot.
Who's got
No,
the best hot chocolate?
me. No, I'm just kidding. I love Salt City Market. I love Salt City Cafe. Yeah, I think
Yeah, Salt City's great.
yeah, they're good.
Cake
Uh,
Bar also has some really good hot chocolate. Have you tried
really?
it?
No, I
You
might
have
have
to
to
go and
go.
try. They
Okay.
have a few different flavors that are fun.
If
Yeah.
they're flavors, you got me. You got me. But no, I think I really love dancing.
Love
It's
that.
yes, I love dancing.
What kind of dancing? I
All,
was a
all kinds.
dancer
Yeah,
growing up.
me too.
You
Let's
were?
go.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. I want to get back into it. There's a really good salsa scene here. Do
yeah.
you do salsa?
I've done, well, I used to dance, as a kid and did competition and
Me
tap
too.
and yeah. Where'd you dance?
Tom
Oh,
Marie's.
my daughter's at Tom Marie's now.
Oh,
Yes, that's so
yay,
fun. I was just
Tom's.
there.
No,
She has dance tonight. So,
oh, that's
um,
awesome. That was a
um,
huge part of my life growing up. Definitely kept me out of trouble.
good,
Yeah.
good, good,
Keep her in dance.
good. I will, I will. She really enjoys it, and Tom Marie's is great.
Yeah.
My dance teacher actually went to Tom Marie's for a while. Do you remember Kirsten Forbes?
Yeah.
She was my dance teacher.
Oh my
I
God, Miss
know.
Kirsten. Oh
Yes,
my
yes,
gosh. I
yes.
and her daughter Haley, we
Hmm.
actually went and did a trip all together, me, my mom, Kirsten, and Haley, to a
Oh,
nationals competition. I
that's
love Miss,
adorable.
yeah, she's
Yeah, so
great.
she got my thirst for dancing. So
Yeah, she's
yeah.
an amazing
She
person.
is. She is. So shout out to Miss
Shout out
Kirsten.
Miss Kirsten. Miss you, girl.
um, yeah, but I mean I do all kinds. But salsa was I'm married. I always talk about my kids, but I do have a husband. He's
Yeah.
a wonderful guy. His name is Mario, and I sometimes we do date nights, and we've done those little pop-up salsa
Yeah,
classes
at the
and
Yuki
things.
Club.
Yeah.
Yes. I
And they're
gotta make
all
it over
over.
there.
Yeah, but it's not intimidating at all.
No.
You get people that go every weekend are just phenomenal. And we go
Hmm.
every 6 months. So
That's what I've heard too, is that it's it's not intimidating. And
No.
it's like all levels, all are welcome. It's really good
Absolutely.
atmosphere there.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, and I really love um I'm starting to get an appreciation of our outdoors a little bit. I was never an outdoors person at all, but when you have kids, you're looking for some fun free stuff to do and a lot of times that's going outside and doing things. So,
Yeah.
visiting our parks and our zoos, Rosamont Gifford and
Yeah.
and the Wild. Those are spectacular
I still have to
spaces.
make it out to the wilds.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
goodness.
put that on my bucket list for this summer.
Especially because my son is into really big cats. Like
Okay.
cheetahs and jaguars and the Wild has a program where especially during the Halloween where they do like flashlight safari and you go in when it's dark time and you can go and walk the zoo and the landscape with flashlights. And it's really incredible because big cats are active at nighttime. They're nocturnal animals. So
Okay.
if you go in the day, they're usually sleeping on a rock, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I think I can see them." No, these cats are like all over the place. And it's really amazing because my kid, my son goes up to the thing like and says, "Hey, cheetah, guess what? You're my favorite animal." Like he can listen to him. So it's like when they learn and they know some random animal facts all the time. So they're teaching me all the time, and I just really appreciate that now.
That's sweet. Yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't grow up very outdoorsy either,
Hmm.
but one of my big goals this summer was to like explore the
I think
beautiful outdoors here. And we have some
I
amazing
like it.
places to go in the upstate New
Yeah,
York.
yeah.
And we have a walking club for women.
Oh.
And so every week we host walks around central New York at a different trail, but
Hmm.
then one week out of the month we would host a hike.
Mm.
And we really did a bunch of hikes in Ithaca.
Hmm.
Really stayed close by, but I think this summer we're going to try to make it out to the Adirondacks at least once
Nice,
or twice and
nice.
kind of do an excursion a little bit, maybe figure out some sort of shuttle, keep
Gotcha.
everyone in one piece because that
Right.
makes me nervous.
Right.
But it's been an absolute pleasure exploring, our amazing trails here and
Yeah.
getting active and getting outside because that's something I definitely wish I did more of as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's free, like you said.
Exactly, exactly. When you find free, it's for me, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love that. We need more of that.
Exactly.
Let's talk about 2026. I mean, we're sitting down right now. It's Tuesday, January 6th, right after the new year.
Yes.
Obviously, I want to hear what Empower's goals are for this year. But first, I want to hear what your goals are as a
Yeah,
leader.
my goals. 2026 is a big year for me. It's a big birthday
Yes,
year.
claim it.
I am gonna claim it, and everybody looks at this. I'm gonna speak it into existence. I'm going to be 40 this year, okay? But towards the end of the year. And I always used to look at getting to this sort of level of my career and age wise, like, oh, sort of like dreading it. And now I'm like, I'm better at this
Hmm.
age than I was, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So one, I'm going to tell people don't fear the age because, age comes with wisdom and it comes with, I'm financially able to do the things that I want to do
Yeah.
now. So I've set some things for myself. One, I want to travel. I know that travel is in my future. Maybe travel with the kids, travel with the husband, travel solo.
Hmm.
I want to hone in on a new language. I don't know what language yet, but I will do that. Um,
For some reason, Portuguese just came to mind.
ooh,
Kind of. I
I'm
mean,
I'm liking it.
yeah.
I'm
I don't
liking
know
it.
why. I'm like Portuguese.
Right.
I can see you
Okay.
speaking
I'll
Portuguese.
try it. No, no,
Depends on where
seriously.
you want to travel
I
too.
know. True. True.
That's exciting.
I am going to get back into dance. That I don't know what style, or maybe it's ballet, maybe it's something else, but I am going to do that. I'm going to do that for me.
Hmm.
I'm going to. I don't like reading that much, but I am going to commit to reading more. Um, and I'm just going to commit to showing up as I can and saying no when I can't,
Hmm.
because that's important.
Yeah, that is.
Um,
That's a skill.
Yeah, it's a skill. And, I think it's easy to get in your head about all the things that you don't have control over. But when you can, kind of level set and say, I did the best I can today. I think it's humbling to say, I gave 100% that I could at this moment, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
I did the best I can, and I said no when I wanted to, right?
Yep.
And every decision that I made today was in alignment with my values and my desires. And
Yep.
that's huge
That's
because so
awesome.
many of us are saying yes when we don't want to
Yeah.
and agreeing to things that we don't want to do.
Mm.
And it's not like you're always going to do what you want, right? That's been huge for me too,
Or
is
say yes on your terms,
yeah.
like, can you be there at 3 o'clock? I can be there at 5, something like
Yeah.
that, just making sure that it's not an obligation. Yep.
Yeah. And like being aware and understanding where you're at too. Cause I think that's a lot of us get ourselves into these pickles,
Mm.
agreeing to things we shouldn't have agreed to. And it really stems from like a lack of awareness or discernment sometimes.
Mm.
But that's been on my to-do list
Yeah.
and something I've started to do is usually when I'm unsure, I'll just say yes.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So now I'm starting to say, let me think about it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's been a
that's a
good
good
one.
one. What is your big goal?
Well, I would say that has a huge part to do with it is doing what I want to truly what is aligned with my goals and desires, where I'm headed, and avoiding the things and the people and the places that aren't aligned with those
Mm.
things. I am a chronic people pleaser.
Mm.
I'm not going to hate myself for it because I think it's gotten me to where I am. But
Mhm.
I need to master the art of having grace and respect and making everyone feel seen, because that's something I'm super passionate about. Is I never want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Of
I
course.
never want to make someone feel like I've brushed them off.
Sure.
But also it's important that I'm honest
Sure.
with myself and that my needs are being met,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I would say just continuing to I've made a lot of progress this year. That was definitely an intention in the beginning of 2025, but
Mhm.
I can tell I still have a little bit room for improvement there. But a big goal, huge goal for CNY Women's Network for my business is we are going to start expanding outside of Central New York,
That's awesome.
hopefully growing our membership community outside of Central New York and starting to host events across the Center State region.
Nice.
So starting to bring together women leaders from
Love it.
Buffalo to Albany,
Love it.
because I've been approached by similar, by community builders in those markets. And they've said, what do you say? An upstate New York Women's Network. We love what you're doing. There's nothing like this. We need your help.
Mhm.
So I need to figure out how that's going to happen,
Okay.
but we're going to try. We're going to get
Yeah.
started this year. So
Yeah. That's a big goal, but
it's
it's one
huge.
that's needed.
Yeah.
And if the need is there, then you just you gotta follow that, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Pray for
awesome.
me.
I, oh,
Keep me in
my
your
hands are on
prayers.
your back. Okay.
What about your business goals for 2026?
Yeah. So I think just following our 4 pillars, we obviously want to make sure we're showing up in those areas. Um, and so we want to make sure that we are strong partners with specifically our nonprofits. We want to make sure that we're reaching more people with our education. That means getting into more school districts, working with more after school centers. Basically, if there is a need and a want for us to be in that space, we will be there. And that means, being intentional about the ways that we show up. Like, just because we have a core curriculum through K through 12 doesn't mean that we can't go to a senior center and talk to them about fraud.
Yeah.
It doesn't, or going to a New American organization and talk to them about just, important documents that they might have to have on file and things like that. Um, and, if there is a specific population or, a need for our services, we will absolutely show some sort of education. And if, like I said, if we are not the subject matter experts in that field, we can be the conduit to get them the resources and the education that they need. 2026 will be the year that we make significant strides in trying to level set, trying to make things more equitable, make things more accessible and obtainable for people.
Yeah, you guys, I can tell Empower has a really holistic approach. I mean, you guys are really trying to address all of the issues, which feels like a breath of fresh air.
Right.
And this community is super fortunate to have you guys here doing this important work. We're also fortunate to have you, Kristin, because you are
Well, thank you.
leading the ship and really making an impact on
Yeah.
Central New York.
Well,
So,
thank you. I appreciate that very much. And you as well. You should pat yourself on the back. We don't give ourselves flowers enough, but I would love to see where you are in December, and where you make that connection from Buffalo to Albany, because I think you're going to do it by June.
oh gosh, you're so sweet. June is an ambitious goal, but you know what? I appreciate your faith. And you know what? Let's get coffee in December.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I love it.
Thank you so much, Kristin, for your time
You're
today.
so
I'm
welcome.
really looking forward to sharing this conversation with our audience, and I look forward to seeing all the things Empower does in 2026.
Same here. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cultivate CNY. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd love it if you left us a quick review and made sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if something in today's discussion resonated with you, please share it. Whether it's on social media or directly with a friend, you never know how hearing this conversation might be exactly what someone needs right now. And I love to hear your feedback. I love to hear your thoughts. So please be sure to tag us on social media if you do share there. This podcast is produced by Diam Media Group, a video production company based in Syracuse, New York. If you'd like to work with Diam Media for your next big campaign, or maybe a podcast you'd like to get off the ground, head to diammedia.com to learn more. Until next time, I'm Alex Canavan, and I'll see you next Monday.